Hello YouTube friends and welcome to Advent. This series is going to be all about the Christmas makes leading up to Christmas Day. And the first one that I'm going to do is the most important thing that you need at Christmas, which is a book to keep all your ideas and lists and thoughts, tick things off, make all sorts of suggestions that you might follow throughout all of Advent. So I thought it would be a good idea to start this Advent series with the Christmas book. There's lots and lots of different ways of making books, and I've shown you some of them on the channel in the past. In fact, the binding that I've chosen for this book, Japanese stab binding, I have actually shown you how to do that in the past. And so I'll leave a little iCard up there showing you how I make the simplest of Japanese stab bound books. This is a good book form, and I've chosen to use this size paper, and this is a good book form for single pages. Mostly when you make a book, you fold the paper and you sew down the folded edge of the page to sew it into the spine of the book. With this one, you can secure single sheets of paper, and one of the good things about it is if it's a simple binding, you can take it out and take pages out or put new pages in. And that's actually one of the functions of a Japanese stab bound book. The book I made previously on the channel was terribly simple. I think it only had like 3 or 4 stitches. However, this Japanese stab bound book is going to have the most complicated binding that I've ever attempted. Because it looks Christmassy, I've chosen this fabric that I'm going to cover the covers with, and I'm going to show you how I'm making this book. But this is probably the most complicated binding I've ever attempted. Probably many of you use Pinterest. I do. I have so many boards on Pinterest. Do you ever do this where you say, I'll just spend 5 minutes on Pinterest, and 4 hours later you're still there? Well, I found this tutorial on Japanese stab binding over on Pinterest, and that's the binding I'm going to use. Now, having said you could take the pages apart, I never will take this one apart. It's going to be so complicated to make. I'm going to leave it exactly as it is. So then, I've got all my pages ready, and I've made the boards for the outside of the book are very flexible. They're just a thickish card, really. And I've cut the Liberty fabric the exact size I need, and I've sewn top and bottom here so that I'm going to turn this inside out and poke the corners out. I cut the little edge off the corners to make that pokey bit there really, really square. I'm going to poke the other side as well. And when I did this little pouch, I ironed down the top here so that would make that edge very, very neat, because of course I need to be able to slide the card into it now. So I'll do that now. This is one of the covers. I've done the other one. I'm going to bend the card like so and pop it inside. If I've sewn this carefully, and I think I have, it should fit perfectly. As it folds down there, it slides down, and then the top edge here with the folded over bit here, I just cut that little tiny thread off there. I don't want any threads. This is going to be the stitch edge here, so that you won't even notice that that's open, because it'll be stitched together. And all of this now, front and back, is beautifully enclosed. Oftentimes when you're making a book, you need to put the cover on the outside and then stick an end paper inside there. By sewing this like this, I've got rid of the need to do that. I've actually made and punched the holes in this cover, and I've punched all the holes that I'm going to need in the pages. There are 24 pages in this book, and I've punched them all with my Big Bite Crocodile, which is a fantastic piece of kit. Okay then, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to punch the holes in the back cover or the front cover. Actually, at this point, it doesn't matter. I suppose it'll depend on how neat the stitching is that I'm going to do for the cover. So I'm going to punch the holes for the back cover, and then we'll get on and do this incredibly complicated stitching. I've never attempted anything as difficult as this. I've got the pattern laid out in front of me here so that I don't have to keep referring to Pinterest, but it's if I don't manage to do it, I guess you won't see this video. And I'll make a much simpler book for my Christmas book. But let's get going and see what I managed to do. So all the holes are punched now, and you can see that I can go all the way through the pages and the front and back cover with my needle. So I can see that they're all lined up beautifully. And for the thread, I'm going to use this really lovely silvery sparkly thread, because I think it will fit very well with the covers, but also because it's very strong, and I will need this thread to have really good strong properties here. But as I say, this is pretty complicated stitching that I'm going to do here, but I had a go, and I think you can guess if you're looking at this now that I probably did manage to do it. So I'm going to show you then, probably speed this up a little bit so that you don't have to watch the whole painful process. Well, I'm not going to pretend that was easy, because it wasn't. I followed I drew the pattern out here. I drew it out wrong, but I went over it in black. I even got it wrong when I did it in black. Those bits shouldn't be there, like so. And you can see, if I get it really close up now, that what is the important thing is to have that star pattern and leave out none of the lines that it should be. Now the back has a couple of knots on it, but it is still absolutely fine. This now is my Christmas book. I know it's little, but it's going to be packed full of fabulous things. Look at that. It's a nice binding for a Christmas book, isn't it?